If you're working as a freelance writer or any kind of service provider for that matter, chances are that not every client you work with is going to be the perfect match. So that's why in this video, I want to talk about how to deal with difficult clients. If we haven't met yet, my name is Rachel. I'm a full-time copywriter and editor. And on this channel, I talk about writing, making money online, and creativity. So if any of those topics are of interest to you, please consider subscribing to the channel. Now, I just want to preface this by saying I do apologize if you can hear dogs in the background. My neighbor's dogs have been going off their tits for a good half an hour now, so we're just gonna have to push through it. Okay, so let's start by talking about difficult clients. So you can get a range of, difficult clients. You can get clients that don't pay on time. You can get clients that don't give you a clear brief to help you do your job. You can get clients that overstep boundaries or expect you to be, on call to them at, all hours of the day. There's a whole, variety of clients that are not ideal. So how do we deal with them? My first tip is you want to stay professional. Now, I know this can be difficult, and I have definitely been guilty of being a little too sassy in my replies to, emails from difficult clients. But I do want to say that it never ever makes anything better. It might make you feel better for like 2 minutes, but then you're going to find that it just ends up making things worse. You've then offended someone, you've made them angrier than perhaps they were, and it just is never a good idea to make a client angry, even if you're right. And oftentimes when I find that I'm getting a bit sassy is the way I'll put it, it's because I'm pretty certain that I'm right. If I know I'm wrong, I'm 100% like I'll own up to that and be like, yep, sorry, you're totally right, I'm gonna fix it. But if I know I'm right, then I do tend to bite back. But yeah, it's just not a good idea. So you just want to try and remain as professional as possible. So how do you do that when you're feeling pissed off? Well, my best tip is to just close the laptop down, shut down your computer and just leave your office for 20 minutes to half an hour and just take some time to take a few deep breaths and let it go, have a cup of tea, have a glass of wine, whatever you need to do, and just wait until you've calmed down before you respond. So that's my first tip. Now, my second tip is once you've stepped back, you've cooled down a bit, have a look at the situation again objectively. Where, might you have gone wrong in this situation? I find half the time when I'm dealing with a difficult client, it's because I haven't clearly communicated what I needed from that client before I started the job. So they might have given me, a vague brief and I've read it and I've just assumed that I know what they want, and then that's turned out to be wrong. But, I could have avoided that situation by clarifying their brief before I even started work on the project. So, it's always a good idea to just take a step back and have a look at, how you might have contributed to this situation unconsciously. Now, my third tip for dealing with difficult clients is to set very clear boundaries. Now, I definitely, again, I'm not someone who's perfect at this. I'm still figuring this out myself, but you just need to know, be really clear with what you will put up with, what you won't put up with, and, where you're willing to be flexible on something and where you're not. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you've got a client who, sees that you're online on Upwork, and therefore they expect you to respond to them right away. And you could be in the middle of another job. So your boundary might be that you only respond to client inquiries at certain times of the day. So maybe once in the morning and then once in the afternoon before you finish up your work for the day. So in that case, setting a clear boundary up front, maybe with an automated message that says, the times that you are online and will be responding to messages. So that way that client knows when to expect a reply. So this can be really helpful just, to setting up those boundaries so that your clients aren't making you crazy. You can focus, get your work done, and then, get to them when you get to them. So that's just one example of setting a boundary. Another boundary might be that you only offer 2 revisions of a piece of writing and then you call it done. So, you know, I've had clients in the past where the revisions have just got a bit silly, like so many minor changes where they should have just sat down once and then done all the changes instead of coming back to me. But again, that's my fault because I didn't communicate up front that I only do 2 rounds of revisions. So just think about what your non-negotiables are when it comes to working with clients, and make sure your client is aware of that upfront before any money is exchanged, so that they can decide whether or not that's something that they're willing to accept. So let's say that you're in a situation where maybe you haven't set your boundaries up front and now you're dealing with a really difficult client. What do you do? My best suggestion is you try and find a solution that works for both parties, and you learn from the experience. So, I would, again, I'd start by stepping back, calming down before you respond. Look at where you might have gone wrong or contributed to this situation that you're now dealing with, and then see if you can find a solution that works for both parties. So maybe you just suck it up and you just get the job done and get the client happy, and then know that, for the next client, you're going to make sure you clearly communicate before you do any work. Or you say, hey, I'm going to do this for you this time, but moving forward, I need X, Y, and Z before I can complete any project. Or, I'm only doing 1 round of revisions next time, but I'll work with you for this particular project until you're 100% happy. So that way, the client is happy and they know what to expect from you moving forward. And you can continue and you can keep it professional and, keep the relationship moving forward. Now, occasionally you are going to come across a client that you do need to fire because it's just not worth it. They could have very unrealistic expectations. Maybe they're not paying you on time. Whatever it is that you feel that, you just need to let them go. In that case, what I recommend doing is you don't never ever write an email and say, hey, I'm firing you because you're a pain in the ass. Don't do that. Just create an email, say something like, I've accepted a larger role with another client, or, my business model has changed and I'm not actually doing these types of writing jobs anymore. Whatever you need to do to say that, hey, sorry, I can't continue to work with you. It's a good idea to give them, at least a couple of weeks notice so they can replace you if needed. But, if it's a one-off project, then just finish up the project, get it done, let them go. And if they come back to you in the future to say, sorry, I'm too busy with other clients. Easy as that. Just keep it professional and you can't go wrong. So those are my tips on dealing with difficult clients. If you have any experiences with difficult clients, I would love to hear your stories. So leave a comment below. If you have any other questions about working with clients, please feel free to hit me up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.